Hey guys, Cal here from the forums. So a package arrived for me today, just there. It was my Anakin Tridcloudwalker saber. Got it out of the box and it's been a pretty busy day, sort of at my friend's workshop. I've got a friend who owns a reborering shop for engines, but he has lathes and various different tools that he lets me use. So this saber was pretty difficult for the electronics install. I just thought I'd do a sort of build log video to show the progress of everything. Basically, Trid ships it with the hollow core and solid core, so you can either have a static or one with electronics. And it essentially has a shroud like this, and then you have a core to go inside. This hole here is just for the switch activation box. Trid cuts a piece of Delrin, which you can see just here, and then gives you sort of 6 LEDs to have if you want it static, but you can make it into switches as well. What I've done is there's just a momentary switch there. I don't know if you can see, just there. Trying to get the focus, just sitting there. I'll show it from above. You can see the actual button. And then I turn down the LEDs on my lathe, so I'll epoxy that in, and then if you can just hear, like that. And then the other ones are just falling out because you have to turn them down as well so that it will sit on the box, but they'll all be glued in, so that'll be the activation box. So the switch part was done. That was pretty much the most difficult part. Then this part is pretty easy, it just comes, you've got this, that'll be glued in after a while. You've got the blade retention screw and the heatsink module retention screw. The saber won't have that much blade depth because of sort of how the hollow core works. There's a lip inside, which I'll show you in a sec, nothing can really much go past that. So I made a heatsink module for it. This will sit in the hollow core. So this is the hollow core here, and that will sit in there like that sort of, and then that'll be the optics, but obviously it will sit down just to see, you see this lip, so it will sit there. That's how much further it can go. I've still got to drill those holes, and then that'll be the blade depth. It's going to have a Nano Biscotti V2 a blue white LED. So that's the optics that I machined. I just made a copper heatsink and a shroud, and then it's held in with a retention screw. That'll be the LEDs. They'll just be static, so I might just cut them short just because, make it a bit tidier. And then obviously this will sit on top like that, and that you can see how it's starting to look like Anakin saber already. The most difficult thing would be how this comes. So this didn't look like this before. I've spent the whole day making this. I got the idea from Scott, who actually cut off the end of it. So this used to be at the end of this. Okay. Now that doesn't leave much like room for electronics or protecting the electronics or anything. So I cut this off, the hollow core, cut it off, and I bought some sort of 28mm aluminium round tube, which has a 1 inch diameter. Turned that down just by 0.3 millimeters. We work in millimeters over here, so just a couple thousandths for you guys. Turned this down a bit and got it the same diameter as this piece here, and then I welded it on, and you can see that I've spent the past hour polishing it and sanding it down, and you can't even see the welds at all. Can't even see them. And this is where the electronics will go. Then simply sort of, you've got this part here, so if I just loosen the screws a bit, so the hollow core then goes in like that, and then now it will have a proper actual part here for electronics that will be protected. Okay, I don't know why this wasn't done in the first place, but I will. Still got to take a bit off because I did it on the lathe, so that'll be taken off to the right size. So after that was done, I was happy with that. Got that done. Don't know what to do with this. I want to put recharge port in the pommel, so I tap the pommel next. So I've got the switches done, and I've got the pommel done, the core done, This was a long day. So the solid core that came with it had the right knurl on the pommel, and I cut it straight off, and then I decided to use that. Now the solid core pommel is just solid. It's got none of these fancy holes in it, none of these nice sound holes that Trid made. It's just one tiny little hole inside. So cut the end off it with the hacksaw, cut that off, and then took it, drilled it a 7mm hole, tapped it to 8mm, so for the recharge port, and then put it on a rotary table and drilled in some sound holes. Because it was solid, I had to bore this out. The boring was pretty easy. It was my first time boring, I've never done that before. Bored this out, made sound holes, and made a nice pommel for it, which I'm very happy with. And that'll just be held in with probably just a retention screw there that you'll be able to access, and you'll have sound, and you'll have sort of recharge port access. Got to polish this a bit more, won't take me long. But that's the progress of my Tridcloudwalker saber. Once it's done, I'll be very happy. I'll be keeping it for myself. I always wanted one of these because it's so nice. And yeah, it's just for tips for people who have theirs and they might think, you know, they might not be able to do it or something because it's a bit weird how Trid made it. But you know, if you just put a bit of effort into it and you've sort of got access to some tools, or someone you know who might have a machining shop, you can do that. Next stage would just be to drill the holes for the wire passages. That's the retention screw I was talking about. Drill the holes for the wire passages, and maybe get Darth Rio or Force Relics to design a 3D sled for a nano biscotti and a single 18650 battery. So this should be done hopefully within the next few weeks. If you want to send me a message or anything to find out how to make one of these yourselves, or how to tackle your one, because I know Trid made a lot of these, a lot of them. He made so many, I think like 70 people bought them, I'm not sure. But just send me an email, I'll be happy to help. And it comes with all the little greeblies like the Delrin grips. But yeah, so watch this space. The saber will be done very soon, and yeah, cheers.